Hello friends, in this session we are going to discuss about the command line arguments and the other Java basics fundamental concepts. Okay, now first let us try to understand. Till now we used to write something called as class A, and we used to have this class where we had some attributes and members, but we used to have one more class called as demo or whatever it is, which had this main method public static void main, and we also used to have parameters for this stringers. Correct, right? Now if there is a method and there is a parameters, there should be some way where I can pass the arguments. Till now we never used to pass any arguments, because in the first program where we had discussed Java C, 1 minute, Java C demo.java, what will happen? It's going to basically compile the program. Java demo, when I do, what am I doing here? I am basically invoking the Java program. The .class file will be loaded into the JVM. If the .class file consists of the main method, the main method will be executed. That's what we did. But how can I pass the arguments for this? I will be able to pass the arguments something like this: 1, 2 and 3. Okay. So now this is the way I will be able to pass the arguments. Whenever I do this, everything will be stored in the form of string array. Okay, and args is just a variable which is pointing to, you can also write the string args as something like this, string args. Okay, so now anything I pass 1, 2, 3, it will be in the form of string itself. Okay, I can also do something like this, open lambda and Nandish. Okay, so when I do pass these kind of arguments, what happens? It will be space is the default delimiter which this has, and after every space it will be considered as a new element. You can pass a number of arguments for this. Okay, it will be treated into a, it will be considering this as a string array, and it will hold that in the string array object, and args is the variable which will be pointing to that. So what I can do is, I do have the Java program. We'll see the Java program itself right now. So what is this? It's a main method which has args of, and this is an array object. There's a length attribute which will give you the length of it. I am looping through this particular array and then printing each element. Okay. Now how do I run this program? Run as Java application I used to do usually. Go to run configurations, arguments. I am passing Nandish open lambda welcomes you all to open lambda. Okay, so this is what I have. When I run this program, see what happens is everything, whatever comes after this space is been put into individual element. Okay. So this is nothing but the command line arguments we say. How do we pass? Through the command we will be able to pass the arguments for the main method. One more thing what I need to highlight here is there is a static keyword. Remember in the previous sessions we had discussed that the static, without creating an object I will be able to invoke the method. But main, did I create an object of this class? No, I just loaded Java demo. That's what we did, or run control F11 or run as Java application. So what happened? I never created an object. Whenever it sees the class file, whenever I am trying to load the class file, I will take up this particular class name dot the main method. If at all it is there, then it is going to load that into the JVM. So I guess this is pretty clear with you guys, right? Okay, now we'll try to add up something. Okay, I'll try to do multiplication of two numbers. Okay, I'll try to do the multiplication of two numbers. I'll say 1 and 5. Okay, for now when I run the program, 1 and 5 will be printed as in the form of string. Okay, now but if I say args of 0 plus args of 1, okay, I am trying to add. Okay, it's printing something like this just because 1 and 5 is not 15, it's 6, right? That's because it's considering it as a string. Okay, let me multiply this. Why doesn't it allow to multiplying? The reason is args of 0 is what basically it's a string, it's not an int. Okay, I am passing 1 and 3, but it is a string. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to convert this into int. To convert that into int, integer dot parse int of something like this, comma integer dot parse int of, okay, do this. So 1 into 5, the respective value will be printed. If I do something like this for better understanding, 13, okay, let me take 10 into 5 so that it will be easy. Okay, the value of 50 is, we saw that is in the console. Now what is this integer parseInt? ParseInt is a method which is available in the integer class. And did I create an object of integer? No, right? I am invoking that through the class name itself. So looking at the code itself, we need to understand whether it's a non-static method or a static method. That's what we need to understand here. Okay, so and we also Java maintains some conventions also. The conventions would be something similar to like this. So for methods and all, for classes, if I am having the class name as open lambda, O caps, L caps will be, if the same I am using it as a method, open lambda will be provided. Okay, so these are the two things. This is called as camel case, and we usually use camel case for methods and attribute instance variables also. But if there is a variable in an interface, then everything would be treated as a constant. That we can discuss it later on. For now you can understand this part. Now let me explain you something like this. We wrote something called as integer.parseInt, right? And we also understood parseInt is a method, and this method I am passing some string argument which is of type 1, something like this I am passing. So that will return me what? Int z. That value I can utilize z. Z can be utilized. But understand here, looking at the code, immediately we need to understand parseInt is a method because of the camel case. Okay, p small and I. And I did not create an object. I is caps. With the help of the dot operator, I am invoking, I am passing an argument. So this is what indicates this is a method. From where am I invoking the method? From the integer class. Okay. Now what kind of method? It's a static method. If not, it was if it was not a static method, what I should have done is integer dot integer I is equal to new integer, then I dot parseInt something something like this. I should have done it. Okay, and instead of this, if you see the code like this, immediately it has to strike to your mind, I am invoking a static method without creating the object. If you want to invoke the method, then it is treated as a static method. I hope this is clear to you guys, right? Okay, So partial is a simple method. It is available somewhere. But what are you doing here? I am basically invoking this method. I don't know how to convert the string into integer, and sorry, I am skipping this. I'll show you something like this. Can this be 10 into 5a? Can this be done? No, right? So what happens is number format exception. So this part of 5a I will not be able to. Just remember this. When we discuss about exceptions, we will be discussing about all those things. Okay. Now, but if at all I pass a proper arguments, proper integer values, then no issues at all. I will be able to get the output. So now, how are you converting the string to integer? Right? I am trying to convert the string to integer using the parseInt method. But who wrote this method? ParseInt is a method which is already written by somebody else and kept in the integer class. You will see where all they have kept all these things. But if you observe here, somebody has encapsulated the logic of converting the string to integer. Correct, right? And we are in the abstract layer. Without knowing what's written inside the parseInt method, I am using it. Integer dot parse int of string I am passing. This will be converted. Without knowing what is the logic of conversion, I am just using this. So somebody has encapsulated. See, I am using the terminology called as encapsulated. Java has borrowed basically 4 concepts from C++ programming language. One is abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and then polymorphism. Okay, we will slowly discuss about all those things. See, somebody has put the logic of converting the string to integer. So what he has done, he has encapsulated the logic. And whenever you are using, you don't know how it is being done, but you are utilizing that logic. So that is abstraction for you. Okay, this is encapsulation. Okay, we discussed about inheritance, acquiring the properties. Polymorphism is again divided into 2 things. Let us discuss about polymorphism. Polymorphism is divided into 2 things. One is overloading, overriding. Overloading can also be called as static polymorphism. Can also be called as dynamic polymorphism. This can also be called as early binding. This can also be called as late binding. This can be called as compile time polymorphism. This can be called as runtime polymorphism. This can also be called as dynamic method dispatch process. Can this be called? It can be called as dynamic method dispatch. Dynamic method dispatch. Okay, the reason is the method will be dispatched in the runtime. That is, through which object it is pointing. The variable is pointing to which object. That it depends at that particular point of time. See, if you go with the example what we had discussed, the shape S variable was pointing to rectangle at that particular point of time. So the method execution was happening from that particular rectangular object. If the shape is pointing to triangle, from the method execution will be happening from the triangle object. Same way, early binding, during the compilation time itself, the binding is going to happen. That is called as early binding. This will be late binding, we call it, because the binding is going to happen during the after the object creation. Okay, that's the main intention. I hope you are clear with all the four concepts of object oriented programming language. Abstract class is nowhere related to abstraction. Abstraction is just a concept. Okay, with Java took it up and utilized it to the core level. Okay, there's a lot of abstraction for us. There's a lot of code written by Sun. Right now it's Oracle. We are just here to build the cream. We'll be just seeing the cream layer. There's a lot more if you go deep. So we'll always be in the abstract layer itself. We'll always be in the cream layer as a Java developer. I hope this is clear to you guys. If you like this video, please do subscribe and give a thumbs up. Thanks a lot, guys.